Hi everyone, and welcome to this little video of mine. I'm just going to go through how I play inside Blitz. Most of the rules are the actual standard rules. I've just got a few little things that I do differently. So I'm going to go through how I think it's played and how I play. A bit of background. I've had this game for a few years and I played a few games. Found it quite difficult. And I don't know why, because it isn't a difficult game to play. But recently I've been watching Sportsman Z and been really interested in his strat football game, and I've been trying to get a copy, but it's so extortionate to get the thing over here that I've finally given up on it. I'm not paying $80 odd for a $60 odd game to get it over to the UK. It don't matter how much I want to try the game and how much I think it's a good game. It's just not happening. I think it's all to do with the size of the box, and either that or Stratomatic just trying to rip everybody off in outside the US. But that's by the by. So I went back to this game and I played a few games and really took to learning it, and decided to buy the 2008 college football season. So I've played a few games of that, and I will have a video of the game that I'm going to play next, which for anybody who's interested is Florida State 21th ranked against 29th ranked Nebraska 2008 college season. But anyway, what do you get? Obviously I buy the PDF, so I had to print it all out, but if you buy the set without the PDF, you get a nice box and a rule book. You get 3 dice. I'm using red, white and blue, and you get a set of fast action cards, and you get 2 charts, and that's the game effectively. You get some score sheets, yada yada yada, and then you start to play the game. Now you can play this game head to head. Obviously you pick an offense, the opponent picks a defense, and you run out the play. There are, on this chart here, defense player calls, adjustments, or if you like me and you play solitaire, it all depends on the down and distance. So if somebody is kicked off and let's say we're at the 45, at the 35 and we're going to the 45, then that's 1st and 10, and dependent on the down and the distance is dependent on what defense is going to be run. So as you can see here, short is for only 3rd and 4th and 1. I use 3rd and 4th and 2 and 1, or the ball is on the 1 or the 2 yard line. Run is anything where the multiplication of the down and the distance is 9 or less, so obviously 1st and 10 isn't, but if there'd been a penalty and it were 1st and 5, we'd be using the run defense. Starters is 10 to 19, so in 1st and 10 it's going to be the starters. Nickel is 20 to 29, and then anything above 30 is the dime defense. And if you don't want to pick the offensive strategy, each one of these has got a box here. And so let's say 1st and 10, so it's starters, so it's the starters lineup, and I'll show you those in a second. You roll the 3 dice. You can just use the red and white if you wish. The blue is an optional. So you look at 3-4, and 3-4 is an inside run, so it's an inside run against the starters defense, and you would look at what that was and play the game. If you want to use the blue, you can use, this is where this comes in. The 5 on the starters is a man-to-man, so you've got an inside run against a man-to-man, so it's a run play against man-to-man, -1 on the defense, +1 on the offense, which becomes significant in the play. On top of that, each team, so if I show you the 2 teams that are going to play in the next game, the offense of Florida State has an offense rating of 0. The defense of Nebraska has a +2. So you add them together and you get 2, and you add those to the downs and distance. So 1st and 10 is 10 plus the adjustment is 2. Now if we look at the defense and offense of the other setup, it's 0 and 0, so there is no adjustment when Nebraska are on offense. So if we were 1st and 18, normally 18 is just starters, 18 to 19, but when Florida State are on offense, we have a +2, which makes it 20, and so a 1st and 18 for Florida would mean that we were using the nickel defense for Nebraska. And there are also adjustments for 3rd and 4th quarter if you want to use them. I don't. The other chart here is for short and breakaways, injuries, turnovers and penalties should they occur. So this gives you, this is your short, these are your breakaways, these are your injuries, turnovers, and then your penalties, offense, defense for runs, pass, punts, kicks. Down here gives you the yardage and the position of the foul, gives you what the foul is, and here it tells you where you administer from. And if you use injuries, which I don't, there's your injury table. So if you're doing a season replay, you could have injuries. So let's have a look at the teams. It's 4 sheets, double-sided, and the one thing that is great about Chris is he puts them in the right order inside the PDF. If you've got to print them, you need to print double-sided, because obviously I've got 32 teams here and that's 64 sheets. If I printed them single-sided, that's 128 sheets. And the way I've printed them is that I've got and it's the way they are in the PDF, and it's the way they come if you buy the actual printed set. And I would buy the printer set if it weren't for the fact that I'd have to pay the shipping costs. So you got the 2 offenses here. This is your run-in and your quarterbacks, and then on this side here is all about your offensive line, and there's the actual season record. On this page is your receivers, and then on the other side is your special teams, your kickers and your kick returns, and then you have your defenses, and this is the one that gets used all the time when you're on defense. So as I said, if it's 1st and 10 and it's a starter defense, then this is the lineup that you're using. And again, it is significant that you move to these as you play the game, because obviously if you're using a run defense, this is the position that they're talking about rather than this nickel, dime, short. So everyone's got those. So let's do, I'll show you these first. These are the action cards. The number in the top is significant to decide, if you're playing on your own, who's receiving the ball, whether it's a run or a pass. These are the key players for the specific run and the specific pass. This is your key player if it's a pass rush. These are secondary players if the pass rush is unsuccessful. And as you can see here on the inside left, you've got right defensive end and right outside backer, which means you look at both of these ratings to decide whether it's good or bad coverage. Also in here, this middle section gives you some information on some cards. Let's try and find them. Out of bounds means that the play ended up out of bounds, so it's only a 10-second play rather than a 40-second play, unless of course it's an inside, left, inside, right, because they're not going to end up out of bounds, they're inside. You've got a quarterback fumble, so there could be a fumble if the quarterback's got the ball at the end of the play, and there could be an injury. As I say, I don't use those. So let's say we're going to have a kickoff, and let's say Florida State are going to kick off from their own 35, and they're going to kick to Nebraska. So we get the kicking sides cards, and we get the kick return for Nebraska. And there's a card. So the first thing you do on a kick, or I do anyway, is I'll turn the first one over just to see, oh, that's handy, if there's any sort of penalty that could happen, and there is. Now this is quite a special card because it happens before the play, so you'd roll, decide whether it's a delay a game or a false start, but we'll put that back in. If it's not, you'd play the play and then work out the penalty at the end. So let's have a look. So as you can see, we've got a number there, 68, so there's no issue. So all the cards, or invariably all the cards, unless you're talking about field goals and returns, all the cards on the running side have two numbers divided by a slash. The highest number is if the offense have got the right offensive lineup or the defense have got the wrong defensive coverage. They will get the highest number. And opposite, if the offense have got the wrong coverage and the defense have got the right coverage, then you get the lower number. In this case, you can see here that there's an S, which means short, and what you would do is you'd re-roll. I'll show you one later on. You'd roll on this column, and some of them here, like on an outside run, it's got a B, which is a breakaway, and a breakaway works on the long run there, so it's a 6. And once again, you roll and you'd use this section here under column 6 because that's what his long is. So let's do a kickoff. So it's going to be Graham Garno, or Gano, depending on how you want to call it. He's going to kick off. Let's put those cards there so you can see them. So he kicks off, and as you can see, we've got a 1, 4, 1. So you look on his grid here at 1, 4, and it says it's a 54/4. Now on a kick it's slightly different. The /4 doesn't mean it's a poor coverage. That tells you whether the coverage is good or bad. So 54 yards, 10, 20, 30, 40, 54 down to the 11, and the blue dice is a 1, and we're looking for a 4, so it's less than 4. So the kicking team have got good coverage coming back, which means that the return team will have the lower number on the return from their grid. If it had been a 5 or a 6, then we would use the highest one. So there we go. Now what you do now is, this is where this number becomes significant, 68. So you look at the kick returners and you look for 68. Niles Paul is 1/67, and some guy called Denard, obviously he's must be a bit pretentious because he doesn't have a first name. He is number 68/77, so he's returning the ball. So again, you would roll. You don't need to roll the blue dice, but I always just roll them anyway. 5, 3, and you look 5, and these are done in blocks of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 5, 3 is 31 and 16, and they had good coverage on the kicking team, so it's a 16-yard return. So that will take me to the 32, 1st and 10 to Nebraska. And that's your kickoff play. If there was a penalty, you would then look at who the penalty was, because it'll tell you whether it's offense or defense. And on the offense, it has a, that's the defense. Let's turn it over. On the offense, it has a penalty of 6, so it's going to be a penalty anyway if it's Florida. But if it was like a 2, you'd roll the blue dice. 4 is greater than 2, there is no penalty. It's as easy as that. Right, so we are at first down and 10 to Nebraska, so we need the defense set up for Florida, and we need the 2 offense setups for Nebraska. You can't see them here, but I've got the runners underneath here. So you can pick, or you can use this situation 0 and 0. That's a 0, that's a 0, so it's just the normal calculation, first and 10, so it's 10, so they're going to be the starters, so we're going to use the starters. So you can choose your run. I find it a bit false to be able to pick the offense, because you know what the defense are going to do already. So I'll roll my dice. I don't use the blue one, but I still roll it anyway. 1, 6, sweep right. So we're going to do a sweep right. Now this is where the cards come in again. You take the previous number, but this one's being used, so I will turn one over because I've used that number, and because it's the start after a kick, if I get a penalty or a non-numbered card, I'll just turn it over next and ignore the penalty because it's not really part of the play. 23, we're doing a sweep right, so we start looking at the outside rights, and they've got a number range 1 to 26, 27, 48, 49, 51. That tells you who's going to take the sweep right, and it's going to be Roy Hellu Jr., and runs are really easy to do. So because I've used that number, I'll turn a card, and it says here sweep right is the right end, which is a bit of a special case. If they're not in this section here for the offense, then you look at this chart and it says right end on a run is tight end 1. So you look for tight end 1, who is Mike McNeil, and his block is a 3, which is significant. 3. Now you can just take that as the block, and let's just run the play with that. So it's a block of 3, right, sweep right. So we roll the dice, and the blue dice is a 3. If it's 3 and a less on a defense, then they have got good coverage, so you'd use the right hand side. The right hand side. If it's 3 or less with McNeil here, who's on the offense, then the offense have got a good block, and therefore you use the left hand side, the biggest number. So we look at 4-2 on the outside run, and he gets 4 yards to make it 2nd and 6, and had it been over 3 he'd have lost 3 yards. So there you have, the play's done unless there's a penalty. He's not out of bounds, he's not the quarterback, so this card here doesn't come in. Let's move these further down, 2nd and 6, so I can bring these cards in. 2nd and 6. So you do your calculation. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 is the starters, so you're still on the starters, and the person who's going to receive this is number 20, and number 20 just happens to be Ray Hellu Jr. Oh, I've got to roll these, haven't I? 4-2. It's a short pass, but we're not going to deal with those. Let's say it's a sweep left, because we're doing runs at the moment. Sweep left, and again look here, sweep left is the left guard, and the left guard has a run rate of 4. So you roll the dice, and it's a 6. So it's got bad block, so the defense will be the stronger on this one. 5-1 is 6 on 0, so he gets no yards, and so we're at 3rd and 6. Again, turn the card because we're going to need it. 3rd and 6 is 18. Let's say it's 3rd and 8. Let's say he lost 2 yards, so that's 24. So 24 is the nickel defense that they're going to use, and so you roll your dice here. 2-6, 2-6 on a nickel is a long pass. We'll come to passes later. Now let's say that they're going to go for a sweep right, and it's going to go to Castillo, and it's a good block by the offense, or a bad block by the defense, whichever you want to look at it, and he rolls a 22. And you come down here and it says on the good side S, so it's a short gain. You would then need this chart. You roll the 2 dice, 64, you look down this column to 64, and S is 18 yards, so he makes an 18-yard gain. Let's say that he rolled a 3-1 with good protection. It's a B. So you come down here and look, his long is 6. So you roll the dice, 21, you go to 21 and you look under column 6 and it's 24 yards, and that's it. That's all there is to running in this game. End of story. That's how easy it is. So let's say we go 1st and 10 and we're on the starters and we roll a pass. So let's say we've got a short pass. So we'd go, I'll keep that card for a second, we'll go to number 16 on the short pass. So we look at the short pass here and we're looking for 16 and it's Todd Peterson. So Todd Peterson is going to be the one that receives it. We turn the next one over, ready for the result of the play. We roll the dice, 5, 6, 1. Now the quarterbacks are split into quick and short passes, medium and long passes, and on the grid, if there's a slash in the top grid, the left is the short, the right is the medium, the left is the quick, the right is the short, the left is the medium, the right is the long. So we've got a 5-6, and a 5-6 here says SC/R. So we're using a short pass, so we take the right hand side, which is an R. These letters are all explained in this rule book, and you get used to them. They're all explained here in this section. As you see, X outcome is you're checking the defensive player off this card. R is the receiver and you're checking against his number in the box. You've got a blank, which is an incomplete pass automatically. You've got a question mark, which is a really bad pass by the quarterback, but it could be intercepted. An SC is a scramble, and we'll go through that. PR is pass rush. There's a PX. I've never had one of those at the moment, but it's the same as a pass rush, but there's something slightly different. When you get it, you'll read the rule book. So 6-5 off the quarterback is an R. Blue dice is a 1. Todd Peterson's number is a 6. It's less, so he's completed it. And then you just roll the dice, 3-6, and 3-6 is 8 yards, so he gets 8 yards to make it 2nd and 2. It's as easy as that. If it was a quick pass, of course, it would be an SC, which is a scramble. And all quarterbacks have got a running card and a scramble card. So when it calls for a scramble, you roll it 3-3, and it says I've got a breakaway, so it goes 4 long. So you roll that, look for 36 under column 4, and he made 28 yards on the scramble, which isn't a bad scramble at all. Now if it's an X, what you do there, so we're still on Todd Peterson, Nebraska, X. So we're now looking on the short pass, right defensive tackle. So we go to these starters column and we're looking for right defensive tackle, RDT. There he is, and on a short pass it's a 0, so it's going to be completed unless there's an adjustment, and I'll show you that in a second. If it was a run, you'd run the run defense there. So if it was a sweep left on the right defensive end, you look for the right defensive end, and it's got to be less than a 6, which it's going to be anyway unless there's adjustments, and so it would be the lower number on a run. You've got the pass rush numbers, the interception numbers, and the return numbers here as well. So that's how that pass works. In here you'll see that on a short pass he's got an M, and if you get the M you would roll again on his medium pass, and if he got a 5-1 or a 5-2 it's got an L, so you roll it and you go on the long pass, so he can move up. Now fumble guard. So let's say that Peterson got the 8 yards and then he fumbled. So each player has got a fumble rating at the bottom here. His fumble rating is 3, you roll the dice, 3, he's fumbled. So now we have to decide who's recovered the fumble. And each team has a defensive fumble rating. In this case 46 to 56, 41 to 56 for Florida State, and 11 to 23 for Nebraska. So you roll the 2 dice. 33, it's not in either of those ranges, so the offense recover the fumble. Had it been in one of those 2 ranges, it would have been the defense that recovered the fumble, and they would take over the control of the puck, of the ball, and possibly return it if they can. Let's have a look at a pass rush. So he went for a pass and we rolled the dice and a number came out and it said, let's say it was 5-3, and that's X/PR. X is quick pass, PR is pass rush on a short pass. So what you do with this is you determine the pass rusher, and it's given out here as the left outside backer. So let's say they were in a nickel defense, left outside backer isn't there, therefore the pass rusher was unsuccessful. But let's have a look. Let's say we're on a run defense, there is a left outside backer and his number is a 6, so the blue dice, when you made that roll of whatever it was, there's Andy, 3-3, 3-3-5. If it's a run defense, the left outside backer has a pass rush of 6, and therefore the pass rush is successful. So now it's either a sack or the quarterback is going to scramble, and in between the 2 sections here is this block here, sack and run. Roll the 2 dice again, it's 12. 11 to 53 is a sack, 54 to 66 is a run. If it was a run, you'd use the scramble, but we've got a sack. You roll the dice, add them together, 6 yards, he's lost 6 yards on the sack. And if you wanted to work out who the sack was, then you've got a sack range here. You can take the next number, 4, or you can have, what I do is I use 2d10s, 95, that would be Kenny Ingram would have got the sack. So you can keep the sack stats if you wish. Right, what else have we got in here? We have got a question mark, and as I said, that is, it's a bad pass, but it could be intercepted. So what you would do on a short pass, you look and say it's the right inside backer, and you look for his interception rating. So let's say it was the left inside backer, 4, because the right inside backer is a 0, 4. You roll the dice, 5, he didn't intercept, it's an incomplete pass. If he did, you then have to work out where the ball is intercepted, and if it can be returned, then you're going to work on the return. Now you'll notice that on interceptions and punt returns and pass rushes, some of these players have got double brackets. And what that means is that if the middle linebacker is not in the setup, you look at this graph here, and anybody in front, behind or at the side of him can be the one that is in the pass rush if he's present. So middle linebacker, and if he's got something in the brackets. So the middle linebacker is missing, so you go nose tackle, we don't have one. Nickel back, we do have one, but he's not got brackets. Left inside backer, he's got brackets, so we can use him. Right inside backer, he hasn't. So when you roll the dice, if that is less than a 2, because it's somebody that's not the position that was called for, if that's a 2 or less, then the pass rush is successful, and you do the same thing, you check run by the quarterback or a sack. Now, the one thing that we didn't say on kicks, on punts effectively, so you get these things like 53N, that's 53 yards and there is no return, and that's it, end of story. On kicks you sometimes get TB, which is touchback. On kickoffs you may find somebody with OB, which is out of bounds, and that would take it back to the 40 and give it to the opposition. There's a question mark here, and what that is it's the same as the slash, but it could be a fair catch. So just going to use these for an example. So your punter punts 33 yards and is checking against 3, so it's good coverage, but the question mark means you've got to go to whoever the returner is and check his fair catch rating, and they don't have any fair catch ratings here, so they never obviously did a fair catch. Let's have a look on this. Here we go. So they've kicked it, punted it, and this punt returner, Tony Carter, has got a fair catch of 6, so if it's below 6, which it is, it's a 1, he can take it as a fair catch. So you can decide whether to fair catch it and take it where the ball is, or you can return it, remembering that they have got good coverage. So there's your choice on that. Now, this is where my game gets a little bit different. I have a second deck of cards, and I can't take credit for them because they came really from ID Jester. If you watch some of his videos, you'll see that he has these cards, but he has them in 2 separate decks. What I've done is I've just copied them into an Excel spreadsheet and made them 2-sided. And if you want a set of these, just let me know. I'm sure ID Jester wouldn't mind me moving them on because they're free. And they're not charged for. So what I will do, let's say we've got a play here, 1st and 10, and it's going to be Nebraska. There is no difference in the offense defense because they're both 0, so it's 1st and 10, so it's going to be the starters. So they're my people that are going to play. And it's a start, so I'll turn one of these over, and the starter says I'm going to do a short pass. Fair enough. Short pass to number 61. So I look on, let me just move that over there because I need the quarterback. So I look on this for 61 on the starters, and it is Marlon Lucky. You can't see it because it's so far down. Let's use one of the top ones. Let's turn another card over. Number 4, short pass to Nate Smith. So we're doing a short pass to Nate Smith and short pass against Key Sweet Right. And this is the other advantage of what ID Jester's done, is created 2 additional sheets that gives you the offense and defense adjustments. So we have got Key Sweet Right against a short pass, Key outside right, short pass. There is no adjustment, so it's just the standard roll. So we roll the dice, and I've got a 14 off the quarterback on a short pass, which is an X. So we're checking the defense. The defense of the short pass, I should turn a card over because I've used that number, is the left outside backer, and the left outside backer is Verdell. On a short pass is a 1. Now if we'd have had an adjustment, that adjustment would have changed to whatever, 2, 3 or even 0, and it is a 1. Therefore that pass is incomplete. Done. 2nd and 10. End of play. So 2nd and 10 is 20, therefore we are using the nickel defense. Turn the card over, let's find out what play we've got. On the nickel, it's an inside left to number 49, and number 49 on an inside left is Marcus Mendoza. So an inside left against no defense, no specific defense. So again, there is no adjustments. It's a run, so we know exactly what's going to happen here. Inside left is the right defensive tackle. On a nickel, right defensive tackle is Kendrick Stewart, and he is a 4. So you roll the dice and it's a 2, so he's got good, he's done a good block, so he's going to make it a shorter yardage. 3-5, 3-5 is an S or a 3, and it's the shorter, so he's going to get 3 yards. 3rd and 7, so that's 21. 21 moves us, and you can see the numbers are in this 10 to 19, less than 10, so it's still a nickel defense. 3rd and 7, and so we look at nickel, and it's, let's switch a card over, and he's going to sweep left. He's going to go to 45, and 45 is Quinton Castile, and it's a sweep left against a man-to-man. So we look for man-to-man, sweep left, defense is going to go down -1, offense is going to go up +1. So, ooh, look at that, we've got possible offensive penalty. So, sweep left. Sweep left is the nickel back, and the nickel back is a 2. It's a 5, so it's bad coverage by the defense, so it's good for the offense. 33 is 7 yards, that will give him a 1st down, but we've got this waiting for him. So we'll look at the offensive penalty rating, which is a 5. We roll the blue dice, it's a 5, so there is a penalty. So remember, we were at 3rd and 7. So we roll the dice, and it's 42, and 42 on an offensive run is an offensive holding 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. So we're going to go back to there, and then we're going to back half. So that would take us back half the distance, obviously, because it's only 6 yards, because we're within 20. So that would give us 3rd and 13. 13 is 60, 39. Dime defense down at the bottom here. Dime defense. So flip a card. It's a short pass to number 73, not that number there, that's the last card, 73. We look on short pass 73. Marlon Lucky. Just flip a card ready for the play. So it's a short pass against a prevent. Prevent defense, short pass. +1 for defense, -1 for offense. Roll the dice, it's a pass, so we'll go to the quarterback. 6-5. Oops. Sorry, I got the pass wrong there. What was number? 73. 73 and a short pass is Roy Hill, Jr. So 65 and a 1. 6-5 is the receiver, and on a short pass, Hill, who is a 6. They guessed right on the defense, so we subtract 1 from that. It's 5, but it's still a 1, so it's complete. Rolled over 6-2. Gives him 6 yards. So we're going to have 4th and a lot long distance to go, so they would punt. And effectively that's really all the game is. Timing is quite easy. All plays are 40 seconds that end up in bounds, and it's in the rule book. Here we go. 40 seconds for all inbound runs and completed passes. 10 seconds for special teams plays with returns, penalties, incomplete passes, out of bound plays and plays with injuries. 0 seconds for extra points, field goal attempts, touchbacks, kickoffs and any false start or offsides. The only one I don't do is the field goal attempts, because the clock does run on a field goal, and so I count that as a 10-second play. There are adjustments if you want to use them in the advanced rules for getting down and putting the ball out of bounds on an outside pass, etc, etc. But other than that, that's the game. And it might not sound very interesting the way I've described it to you, but it's a really, really, really good game, as you would expect from Chris Davis and Inside Sports. The games are always good. Big fan of the Inside Sports games. So yep, there you go folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll look at purchasing this. You can download the rules. You can download the rule books, and I think you can get the fast action cards as well for the download. You can also download a fact flipper off the website, so you know, and I think there's a set of 2 teams as well, so you could actually play this game for free. It does have a PC version, but anybody who knows me, I don't play PC games. I don't watch PC games. You know, I watch anybody playing cards and dice, baseball, football, hockey, basketball, but as soon as I see that it's a computer game, I switch off, because I've got no interest in it at all. Maybe it's because I work with them all the time. That's what my job is, working with computers, writing software, so I like to get my hands on the dice and roll them and flip the cards and look at the cards and work it out for myself. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I can recommend that you give this game a try, and as I say, everything's for free. You don't have to print these out. Even if you buy the game by PDF, you don't have to print them out. You can just get the fact flipper from the website, and it's free, and you do it that way. These things, as I said, they're really the idea of ID Jester. I'm not taking any credit for it. All I've done is I've made it into a single pile, and if you want a copy of these and it's okay with ID Jester, which I'm sure it will be, then I will send you my Excel spreadsheet. You just have to make sure you print it out. I think there's 5 or 6 tabs for the offense and 5 or 6 tabs for the defense. Print your 6 offense tabs out, take your paper, turn them over, and print your 6 defense pages out, workbook sheets out, so they're double-sided. Cut them up and off you go. You can use that, or you can use the one that's supplied here and just use these. Either way, I would recommend that you try it and see how it goes. So until next time, hope you've enjoyed this, and I will be playing Nebraska and Florida State. I'll just show you my score sheet. This is my own score sheet, and again, if you want a copy of it, you can have a copy of it. It's got the timing at the top, the scores, and then first quarter, second quarter, and on the other side third quarter, fourth quarter. Amazing, isn't it, what you can find on the other side. And what I do, these are the sheets that come with the rules. That's one thing to be careful of. If you're going to print the rules out, don't print the full rule book, because it's got a load of score sheets at the back. So if you just want the rule book, print it. Make sure you only print the specific pages that have got the rules. So anyway, what I do is I write down every play, so if I want to keep the stats I can. This is Missouri State and Ohio State. Missouri kicked off from the 35, Wolford kicked it 57 yards, and it was returned by Thomas for 32 yards. Ohio State first and 10 on their own 40. Greater than sign going out, less than sign going in. they did a run. I started using the actual type of runs down here. To Wells, he made 4 yards, 2nd and 6 from the 46. Wells made 6, 1st and 10 from the 50. Borkman 1, 2nd and 9 going, 49 going in. Short pass to Posey, 1 yard. 3rd and 8 from the 48. A medium pass to Wells, but it became a pass rush. Heron caught for 7. 4th and 1 from the 41. They punted. Oh, that's one thing I should have talked to you about, punts. I'm glad I saw that. And I just keep doing that. Down here I'll put if there's a score, or when there's a change of possession, the amount of time that was used, so I can keep the amount of time that they've done. Whether there's a touchback, whether there's a touchdown, extra points are good. If there's a sack, yada yada yada. There's a sack, and Sulak got the sack, a -8 yards. An X is an incomplete pass. This went into overtime. I had to look the overtime rules up for 2008 college, going from the 25, and in the end Ohio State lost. Number 9 Ohio State lost to number 19 ranked Missouri 27-20. The other games I've played, 17 Cincinnati beat number 7 TCU 20-10, and the big shock was number 8 Penn State beating number 1 Florida 42-38. So I've not had the pleasure of one of the higher ranked team winning. And so Florida State at 21, Nebraska at 29, but punts. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. The punter has 2 sections, outside the 50 and the 50 and in. If you're punting outside the 50, the number that is in this, like 49/2, is a 49-yard punt. So he kicks it 49 yards. If it's closer than the 50 or 50 and closer, 18. That is, he's kicked it to the 18. So if you want to work out how many yards he's kicked it, so let's get going from the 50, it's a 32-yard punt. The 18 is the physical line that the punt has gone to if he's 50 or less. The number on the outside 50 is the number of yards, so you've got to remember that, because you look at it and think, he did a 6-yard punt. What's he doing on the field? It's not. He kicked it to the 6-yard. So you have to be careful of that. Anyway, that's it. I'll be back later on with possibly the first period, or maybe the first half of this college game. You won't see the team sheets. Mainly I'll have it set up like this so you can see the cards, and I'll use these second season tokens for the down and distance, and you'll be able to see the dice roll, but I'll let you know what's happening and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it's been of some use. Thank you and goodbye.